class. Today we'll continue our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. We are going to discuss from the fifth canto, the wonderful details on the creation, and today we are going to discuss on the 19th chapter, the first half of 19th chapter. I'm hoping devotees remember what are the topics that are going on and how did we arrive at this Jambudvipa. So let's quickly do the invocation and then get into the details today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarna Paramanand Pato Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. It's it. Krishna. We are in chapter 19 on the Canto 5, and this is a description of the island of Jambudvipa. So we are already in the topic of Jambudvipa. So let's do a quick recap and please remember this. But it's a nice topic. It's one of my favorite topics. So I thought we should just continue a little bit of this description before we get into uh, today's session. So I just came down directly to our universe and the screen is clear. I'm just looking at this right part of the screen. It's very similar. I mean, everyone will see the same thing. So this anda is your anda. This egg. Okay. So
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, for some reason your voice is not very clear. I don't know if it is from my side.
No, his voice is little shaky. Yes, I agree, Mataji.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little shaky.
To hear yours clearly, let me just check. Automatic adjustment. Hare Krishna. Is it better?
There is some echo, Prabhuji.
Cancellation. Okay, Hare Krishna. Is it better?
Yes, it's
There
better,
is some
Prabhuji. It's
external
No.
disturbance also.
Okay, I'm just checking. Hare Krishna, is this okay?
Some background noise is
There's no noise here. I'm in a very quiet place. Hare Krishna. I may out.
it is not working.
Okay, just one moment. Okay. Hare Krishna, is this audible?
You're
It is
better,
better now,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Okay, I've just logged in from my mobile. Is there a disturbance here also?
No
Lot
disturbance.
better, lot better.
Better.
Okay, I'll probably continue the audio here. The video can be on screen. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. And is my screen visible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or did I just lose my screen?
Now it is not visible.
Okay, just got back on. Wait, just
Now the screen is visible.
Oh, okay, now I know why. Sorry, I should have done all these settings before the class. My bad. Anyways, we'll go with this for now. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hoping now things are better. We are viewing this um, structure of the universe, what we said, very sensitive screen. So this is the outer covering of the universe, the one you see outside, and the Garbhodaka ocean. So within the universe, it always starts with the Garbhodaka ocean, where we have the Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu. Usually it is said that close to half the universe is covered by the Garbhodaka ocean. Just for our understanding, this structure is like this. And we know most of this. I'm going to quickly cover through this. The lower planetary systems, the Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala Lokas. Below that are the 28 hells. These are the hellish planets where Yamaraj's authority happens. Ananta Shesha Vishnu and Lakshmi Devi, we all know this. The lower terrain or called the Bilva Swargas, these are also places of enjoyment, just that their enjoyment is very uh, bad taste when I look at it from a earth perspective. So they are extremely in the mode of ignorance. Now, if I just scroll up, so on top you have the other 7 lokas, where you have earth or the Bhuloka, and then you have the Jana, Maha, Tapa, and Satya lokas, right? So Bhu, Bhuva, Swarga, Maha, Jana, and Tapa lokas. So these are the higher planetary systems. Satya loka is where Lord Brahma sits. Now coming down to this Bhuloka, this is the blue portion here. In this Bhuloka, there are 7 dvipas or 7 islands. Okay, these have nice names. I think the names are also open here. So we have this Plakshadvipa, Shalmali Dvipa, Kushadvipa, Pushkaradvipa, Sakadvipa, Kronchadvipa. So if you see one bigger than the other, and the one right in the center, the small portion, this is called Jambudvipa. Okay, so this Jambudvipa is right in the center. This Jambudvipa has 9 varshas. The center of that 9 varshas it's all round, all these dvipas are round. The center is called the Ilavrata Varsha, where you have the Mount Meru or the Sumeru mountain. Okay, this mountain, the Golden Mountain, I think some of you might have attended the previous session where we were seeing this. This Mount Meru, on top of it are the multiple demigod places, including the center of it, which is Brahmapuri or the house of Lord Brahma. So the height of this mountain is all the way till Brahmapuri, which is Satyaloka. Okay, difficult to put it in a 2-dimensional figure, but this is how it is mentioned. Okay, now just quickly going back to what we had already seen from a Jambudvipa perspective. Remember, we are all discussing the Jambudvipa so far. So this is Jambudvipa. Each of those dvipas, islands that we saw, the dvipas from outside to the inside, right? The 7 dvipas, each of them have an ocean of their own. The oceans are something like your ocean of sugarcane juice, or ocean of pure water, or ocean of milk, and so on. And Jambudvipa is surrounded by this ocean of salt water. And then it has got this 9 varshas. Center we discussed is the Ilavrata Varsha, where the middle of it is Mount Meru. So we have Bhadrashva and Ketumala Varsha to the left and right. We have Ramyaka, Hiranmaya, and Kuru Varsha on the top. We have Hari Varsha, Kimpurusha Varsha, and Bharata Varsha to the bottom. Okay, Varshas are all these places of residence where different kinds of people stay. I don't know how much you all remember, but in the previous class, in the previous, we would have discussed who are the residents of each of these varshas and what were their prayers. So, don't know how much, again, we all will take away. But 11th Varsha, one in the center, Lord Shiva is the main resident, and he is praying to Shankarshan, his dear deity. Okay, so Bhadrashva Varsha is called Bhadrashrava, who prays to Hayagriva form of the Lord, the horse-headed form of the Lord. Right. So then the Hari Varsha, which is at the bottom, third from the bottom lowest, is got Prahlad Maharaj praying to Narsimhadev. Similarly, Ketumala Varsha has multiple people like Lakshmi Devi, Prajapati, Samvatsara, and his children, and they are praying to the Pradyumna form of the Lord or the Kamadeva form of the Lord. Here, Lord Narayan or Vishnu is the Kamadeva. Lakshmi Devi is praying to. Then Ramyaka Varsha has Vaivaswata Manu praying to the Matsya form. Hiranmaya Varsha has Aryama praying to Kurma form of the Lord. And the top north is the Kuru Varsha, where Mother Earth is praying to Varahadev. This whole thing we saw in the 18th chapter, other than 11th Varsha. This whole piece, each of them, what are their prayers and who is their predominating deity. Predominating deity is what we saw in the previous class. Now, today's class is a continuation of it, where we are going to see the last two or the bottom two Varshas, which are Kim Pursha and the Bharata Varsha. Right, so we are going to see about Kim Purusha Varsha and Bharata Varsha right at the bottom, and who are the main deities and who are the devotees who are praying to these deities, and importantly, what are their prayers. Okay, so that is what we are going to see again. So the technical aspect is done. We will not look at the softer aspect, which is more to do with the prayers. Okay. I'm jumping down. So I'm not reading the summary, but this is basically what we have discussed. The focus here obviously is the Bharata Varsha, which we'll be discussing in the second half of our class, which is next week. So second half of the class, usually we will discuss more on the Bharata Varsha's residents and the different rivers that flow through and all that. Okay. So we'll go into shloka number 1. Today we'll try to cover 15 shlokas. Shloka number 1. Kim Purushe Varshe Bhagavatam Adi Purusham Lakshmanagrajam Sithabhiramam Ramam Tak Charana Sannikarshabhi Rataha Parama Bhagavato Hanuman Saha Kim Purushe Avirata Bhakti Rupasate. Word for word meaning, Sri Sukha Vacha, Sri Sukadev Goswami continued to speak Kim Purushe Varshe, the tract of land known as Kim Purusha, Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adi Purusham, the original cause of all causes, Lakshmana Agrajam, the elder brother of Lakshmana, Sita Ramam, who is very pleasing to Mother Sita, or who is the husband of Sita Devi, Ramam, Lord Ramachandra, Tak Charana Sannikarsha Abhirataha, one always engaged in service of the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra, Parama Bhagavataha, the great devotee celebrated throughout the universe, Hanuman, His Grace Hanumanji, Saha with Kim Purushaihi, the inhabitants of the tract of land known as Kim Purusha, Avirata continues, Bhaktihi, who possesses devotional service, Upasate, worships. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation, Srila Sukadev Goswami said, my dear king, in Kimpurusha Varsha, the great devotee Hanuman is always engaged with the inhabitants of that land in devotional service to Lord Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshmana and dear husband of Sita Devi. We'll continue with translations and purports going forward. So translation for second shloka, a host of Gandharvas is always engaged in chanting the glories of Lord Ramachandra. The chanting is always extremely auspicious. Hanumanji and Aritrasena, the chief person in Kimpurusha Varsha, constantly hear those glories with complete attention. Hanuman chants the following mantras. Purport, in the Puranas, there are two different opinions concerning Lord Ramachandra. In the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, this is confirmed in the description of the incarnation of Manu. The Vishnu Dharmotara describes that Lord Ramachandra and his elder brothers, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna, are incarnations of Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, respectively. The Padma Purana, however, says that Lord Ramachandra is an incarnation of Narayana, and the other three brothers are incarnation of Shesha, Chakra, and Shanka. Therefore, Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan has concluded Tadidam Kalpa Vedeneva Sambhavyam. In other words, these opinions are not contradictory. In some millenniums, Lord Ramachandra and his brothers appear as incarnation of Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, and in other millenniums, they appear as incarnations of Narayana, Shesha, Chakra, and Shanka. The residents of Lord Ramachandra on this planet, the residents of Lord Ramachandra on this planet is Ayodhya. Ayodhya city is still existing in the district of Faizabad, which is situated on the northern side of Uttara Pradesh. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sma Padandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. Okay, Hare Krishna. We have taken 20 minutes to set up the context and the finish of our shloka reading. So from here, we'll actually be going pretty smooth because it's a very relatively small chapter. We are going to discuss only 15 shlokas, and the details are something that we already know. So it's more of a glorification of the Lord. So at every step, we will see about the Lord and his glories. So here, the first part, if you understand, so Sukadeva Goswami is continuing and he's describing next Varsha, which is the Kim Purusha Varsha. Now, when you probably came to Krishna consciousness, you might have heard this, that the different residents of different planetary system looks little different from what we are. So Kim Purushas are, see, Purusha, as you would understand, the word is basically usually addressed for human beings. Kim Purusha, the word itself looks like Kim means what? Are they human beings? That's how they look. So these personalities, like your Hanumanji, your Sugriva, Bali, these people, they are not monkeys. They are Kim Purushas. Basically, they are humans, but they look like that. For another example is probably Jambavan. Again, Jambavan looks like a bear, right? So he looks like Karadi, but he does everything else. He's intelligent, like more intelligent than us. He's very strong, and he has different skills that he's got. So these personalities there, from a human perspective, they look a little different. Okay, that's on this Varsha itself, and there also they have these as these different planetary systems exist. The Lord exists everywhere. So here also they have a particular form of the Lord that is very close to them. And the prayers are basically done by Hanumanji, and some place it's also mentioned, some of the acharyas mentioned that some of these prayers are by Sugriva as well. Okay, they cover about first 7, 8 shlokas. Now, establishing who is Lord Ramachandra, right? So everywhere when you say Prahlad praying to Nrsimhadev or Lakshmi Devi praying to Pradyumna form of the Lord and so on, we always said who they are. Okay, here also it's setting up the context of who is this personality, who is Lord Ramachandra. Very beautifully mentioned in the first shloka, right? It is mentioned he is, You know Lakshmanagraja, he's Adi Purusha, he's Lakshmanagraja, he's Sita Abhirama, basically meaning that he is Sita Abhirama, which is very, very dear Abhiram to Mother Sita Devi, which is husband of Sita Devi also, or he gives pleasure to Sita Devi. Lakshmanagraja, which is basically the elder brother of Lakshmana, the Adi Purusha, the original personality. Okay, what's his name? Ramam or Lord Shri Ramachandra. With his brothers are being prayed by Hanumanji Saha with Kim Purushaihi, other inhabitants of this Kim Purusha Varsha. That's what we have seeing here. What are the prayers is what we will continue. But this personality, some people say that they are, the original Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And some people say, no, 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 they are actually Narayana comes. No, Narayana with his paraphernalia, which is, Adishesh, which is Lakshmana Dev. Chakra is Bharata and Shanka is Shatrughna. Okay. So some people say it is Vasudev Shankarshana, someone else says that Narayana, Shesha, and so on, which is correct. Well, very clearly here you will see that it is mentioned that the Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says that these are not contradictory information because the Lord comes, every yuga, right? So every yuga the Lord comes and does different things. Every Treta Yuga, when the Lord comes as Ramachandra, he decides where does he come from. So many times it's important for us to understand this because many times we see that we talk about Krishna and we talk about original Krishna. Okay, every Dwapar Yuga we have Lord Krishna coming and doing his Leela. But once in a day of Brahma, that's once in a Kalpa, the original Krishna comes from Goloka. And that original Krishna, when he comes, this other Krishna, who basically comes from your Shweta Dvipa, your milk ocean within the universe. You understand the Leela avatars all come from there, from your Vishnu, Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So that Krishna doesn't come, but the original Goloka Krishna comes. And when he comes, originally from there, Srimati Radharani comes, Govardhana comes, Yamuna Devi comes, and so on. Right? So Vrindavan directly comes from there. And that once in a day of Brahma, when Krishna comes and does his Leela, next, immediately coming Kali Yuga, you have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming. Right? So this Kali Yuga that we are in, we are so blessed that the original personality, Lord Shri Krishna, and the original personality, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have come and their Leelas have happened just a few years back. Just a few years back. Like this, there are many times people get confused. Oh, there is so much of gray area in Shastras. There are no gray areas. Very nicely mentioned by our Acharya saying that Shastras are black and white. It's only us who try to interpret based on our, 2 paisa brain that we try to understand it in a certain way which doesn't fit in. And then we say that, oh, there are contradictions. That's why we should always rely heavily on the Acharya's commentaries. We should take from there. That's what Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan is giving us, saying that there is no contradictions in Shastras. Okay, so it is mentioned that Hanumanji does these prayers, right? So that's what we saw. Hanumanji chants the following mantras. So we will start seeing what are the mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Uttama Shlokaya Nama Arya Lakshana Shila Vartaya Nama Upashishil Tatmana Upasita Lokaya Nama Sadhuvada Nikasanaya Namo Brahmanya Devaya Mahapurushaya Maharajaya Nama Iti. Okay, translation. Let me please your lordship by chanting the Bija Mantra Omkar. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, who is the best among the most highly elevated personalities. Your lordship is a reservoir of all good qualities of Aryans. People who are advanced, your character and behavior are always consistent, and you always control your mind, your senses and mind. Acting just like an ordinary human being, you exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. There is a touchstone that can be used to examine the quality of gold, but you are like a touchstone that can verify all good qualities. You are worshipped by the Brahmanas, who are foremost of all devotees. You, the Supreme Person, are the king and kings, are the king of kings, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. There's no purport, but there are a lot of important points here. Let's try to understand this personality, Lord Sri Ramchandra, using this. Okay. First part of the prayer, the very first thing highlighted here in green, whatever are your prayers, whatever are your services, whatever activity you're doing, the bottom line of that, like they call it at office now, the bluff or the bottom line, what is it? It is for the pleasure of their lordships. Let me please your lordship, right? So we always go and do any service for the pleasure of Lordship Krishna or Guru and Gauranga, like we say, right? So it's always for the pleasure of the lordships. Okay, so he's using the Biju mantra. Then what is he saying? You are the best among the mostly highly elevated personalities. So first thing is establishing there is no other person who is as big. So there are going to be a lot of repeats of this in the bottom shlokas. So I'll cover it here. So wherever it comes in, we can skip. So there is no second person to Lord Krishna, right? So Lord Krishna or Lord Ramchandra, they're not different in one sense. So we will know that he is the best of the personalities. Okay. So he's a reservoir of all good qualities. Oh, such wonderful personalities, Lord Ramchandra, right from his very childhood, he exhibited exemplary character as an ordinary human being. Right. So that part also we have heard, we know that, right? So he is the reservoir of all the good qualities. In fact, it is so good, it is said that anyone who associates with the Lord, with Lord Ramchandra, he gets all the good qualities. And practically, we can see that anyone who associates with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sincerely, he starts getting all the good characters, good characteristics within him. That's all the good qualities, right? So his behavior becomes nice. So all of us are trying. Some of you might be very advanced. Some of us are still trying. That we can develop these good qualities, and in association with the Lord, it always happens because He's the reservoir of all these qualities. You always control your mind and senses. So obviously we'll discuss a little bit further down as well. But the Lord is he doesn't worry about anything materialistic, right? So he's not influenced by the modes of nature. So his mind and senses are always in his control. And as devotees, it's important for us that we develop our character, we develop our control over our sense and mind. That's when we are advancing. Right? So we are Godasas or Goswamis. Go means the senses. Swami is the person who is able to control, and Dasa is the person who is a servant or subservient to the demands of the mind and senses. Okay, important. And how do we solve it also is important. We'll cover that in a bit. Okay, acting just like an ordinary human being, like we already saw. So he came for a particular purpose, and that ordinary human being is part of that Leela. Okay, we'll see that in a bit. I think in the next sloka itself, you exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. One of the important things that he did, it's also mentioned at the bottom, right? So he's King of Kings. He's Uttama Purusha. This is Purushottama month, and Purusha Uttama is usually referred to for Lord Ramachandra. Exemplary behavior. Purusha Uttama, topmost of the personalities, or in this case, Purushas, or the human form, right? He teaches us how to behave. It can be, so let's look at different examples from the Lord's life, right? So the example of how he accepted the words of his father and went to the forest, right? So he shows his behavior as a son, the way he treats a Jatayu, a Sugriva, a Vibhishana, of course Lord Hanuman, the way he treats each of these personality shows his wonderful qualities, wonderful way We should take care of someone who is junior to us, someone who is equal to us, someone who is better than us. In this Lord's case, obviously, no one better than him. That's why his father's example came in, saying that someone who is superior in terms of position, right? So, but it teaches us how we should behave in each of the circumstances. The love he exhibits towards Sita Maya or Lakshman can't be replaced, right? So, at each place, he teaches others how to behave. There is a touchstone that tells, okay, this is typically your touchstone, where it turns iron to gold, or basically it tells you the quality of a gold. Similarly, anyone who associates with the Lord, right? So when the Lord touches, all good qualities automatically come into that person. The other way to put it, if we are not able to go closer to the Lord, it tells us we don't fit in. We have still got enviousness in us. We have all got those anarthas in us that is not letting us come closer to the Lord. Okay, and anyone who is close to the Lord, anyone who's able to do services to the Lord, we should get inspiration from them and understand that the Lord is pleased with these devotees. You are worshipped with Brahmanas, who are the foremost of all devotees. Obviously, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, that's what we saw that in the shloka. And he is king of the kings. He, other than teaching us how to behave as humans, he also is the topmost of the kings, right? So all the kings learn from him. We'll continue to shloka 4. So we have established the position of Lord Ramchandra. We'll continue on who he is. The Lord, whose pure form, or Sachidananda Vigraha, is uncontaminated with the modes of material nature, can be perceived by pure consciousness. In the Vedanta, he is described as being one without a second. Because of his spiritual potency, he is untouched by the contamination of material nature, and because he is not subjected to material vision, he is known as transcendental. He has no material activities, nor has he a material form or name. Only in pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness, can one perceive the transcendental form of the Lord. Let us be firmly fixed at the lotus feet of Lord Ramachandra, and let us offer our respectful obeisances unto those transcendental lotus feet. Okay, the prayers are continuing, and in the prayers, they're making it very clear, or Hanumanji is making it very clear, that the Lord is perfect or pure, and we have a chance to actually accept this and fix ourselves firmly at the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? So we saw this is uncontaminated, is not touched by the modes of material nature, and he can be understood only by pure consciousness. When we get into the Sattva Guna or Shuddha Sattva, we'll be able to understand the Lord completely. Otherwise, because we have our Rajo and Tamo with us, it's very difficult to understand the Lord completely. So we should get closer and closer to the Lord, means we should develop those qualities. We already saw he's one without a second. No one is equal to the Lord. Of course, no one is better than the Lord. This Srila Prabhupada keeps mentioning. Okay, so untouched by material contamination. Now we'll see a little bit more on this, right? So who is this personality? Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamina Tishtan Nanavataram Akrod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samavad Paramapamamyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Or Brahmaji is praying, all these incarnations such as Rama, Narsimha, and all these are originally coming from Lord Shri Krishna. Krishna Swayam Samavad is the Parama Purusha. Now, here he's just giving this example that typically all the forms of Narayana are 400 forms, having this, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma in their heads. But in this case, Lord Ramchandra is not sitting on a Garudji and not having a 400 form. So, how do we understand this? And the answer is very simple. So, that he comes here because he has a particular purpose. Okay, but he is none other than the original Krishna or Narayana himself, right? So Ramchandra, Rama Adi Murtishu. Okay, he is non-different from original Krishna. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the 400 form. He's not affected, and he is Prashanta. One of the words used in the shlokas is Prashanta. Prashanta is Prashantvagidini, they say in Kannada, right? So very peaceful. He's not disturbed or is unaffected by anything that's happening around him. That's called Prashanta. And despite this, he showed some symptoms. We'll again continue to see them in the coming shlokas. But if you see, Lord Ramchandra's character was that way. He is very, very peaceful by nature. And that's something that he wanted to exhibit and teach us as well. Okay, but his peace was obviously disturbed by who else? Ravana, right? So because demons like Ravana have no spiritual vision, they considered Lord Ramachandra an ordinary Kshatriya king. Ravana therefore attempted to kidnap Lord Ramachandra's eternal consort Sita Devi. Okay, so Ravana was actually pretty nice, That's in this particular case. Ravana actually was trying to take away Sita Devi from Lord Ramchandra. What are we trying to do? Sita Devi here basically means Lakshmi Devi or trying to enjoy. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to, we want Lakshmi Devi, we want the pleasures of this material world, but we also want Narayana with us. No? Lakshmi Narayana. We pray because Lakshmi Devi cannot come alone. That's why Ravana lost. We understand that Ravana, we cannot be Ravana. We are not so qualified. So let me try praying to the Lord, asking for Lakshmi Devi. That's what we are trying to do. We are pretty much demons. So we should get out of this mentality of trying to enjoy in this material world by praying sincerely to, in this case, Sitaram form of the Lord, saying that let me get out of all these material troubles of desires that I have. Don't become Ravanas, don't become mini Ravanas, trying to enjoy here because it is useless. So, how do we see this beautiful form of the Lord if you want to see? The personality of Godhead, it is said in the shloka here, right? Just calling up. Okay, to understand Him, to one perceive the transcendental form only in pure consciousness. It's mentioned twice. So, can be perceived only by pure consciousness, right on top, highlighted in yellow. Again, this gray part, only in pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness, one can perceive the transcendental form of Lord. Meaning what? How do I perceive or see Him? How do I understand all this, right? The personality of God can be perceived only by persons who are saturated with devotional service. Saturated is a very interesting word. No, saturated means what? I'm deeply covered, engrossed. No, I have that quality in full. I'm filled with this quality. I'm just trying to. I was just looking at the different English meanings for this. Let me see if I can pull that up quickly. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Anyways, so we are completely in devotional service for us to understand. So in Brahma Samhita, this beautiful shloka is there. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achitya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamah Bhajam. Where it says that devotees whose eyes are pointed with the pulp of love. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Premanjana, like you put kajal, you will have to put the kajal of love in your eyes. When your eyes are filled with the love for the Lord, the form of the Lord, then that eternal form, here in this case, the Shama Sundar form, name is Shama Sundar, Achintya Guna Swarupam, with all his Achintya Gunas Swarupam, he himself appears in front of us. We are able to see him. When we have the topmost desire to see him, the Lord appears. And the topmost desire need not come with a lot of materialistic qualities. We will see that in the coming shlokas. We'll make it very simple. So we all know this particular pastime. I'm just using a pastime for us to understand this important point, though it is not 100% connect to this. Okay, so there was one Srimad Bhagavatam speaker who loved the Lord, and he would give Bhagavatam class every day, and typically talking of the Leelas of Krishna from the 10th canto, Dasmaskanda. He would describe the beautiful form of the Lord in Vrindavan, in Dwarka, in Mathura, and all that. And he's been doing it for many, many years, 30 years, 40 years. Very old person, very much in love of the Lord. One time, a thief trying to escape from some police actually entered into the satsang where this person is giving the Bhagavatam class. In that class, he's talking about the beautiful form of the Lord in Vrindavan, where Mother Yashoda is dressed him up very nicely. The little boy, he's got the gold jewelry, I mean, the chain and the bangles and the odiana and the anklets, and he's wearing this, he's wearing that, the earrings, all that. So the thief, when he heard all this, obviously his intention was, wow, can I get this gold out of this person? So he heard the katha very nicely. He understood, okay, this beautiful boy, curly hair, dark complexion, and in this village, you go there and call him, he will come, and he's got all this jewelry, take it away. So next train he caught, he went there. Okay, he goes to Vrindavan. There he doesn't know anything. So it said in the forest of Vrindavan, the beautiful forest of Vrindavan. So he goes into the forest of Vrindavan and starts calling out Krishna, Krishna. And Krishna comes, the beautiful form of the Lord, the one that he had heard and he had imagined, right? So the beautiful form of the Lord came himself with all the gold in him. And he said, take it. Krishna looks at him and says, yeah, you called me. So this person, he falls flat. He is like, he's not seen anything like this, right? So that's no background about Krishna. So he falls flat and then he says, no, I don't want anything, Krishna. This appearance of yours, like Dhruva Maharaj was fully shocked, right? So he's also fully shocked. I don't know what to do now. So Krishna says, yeah, you take all this jewelry. This is why you came. He says, I don't want anything. And I will go tell that guru who was giving the class on Srimad Bhagavatam about this. So he rushes to the guru and tells him that I met Krishna in Vrindavan. The guru says, Are bhai, the Krishna appeared in some other yuga. We are in Kali Yuga. I am just telling you, there's nothing like this that happened. No, he says, no, exactly like you said, the beautiful Lord with the flute in hand, a peacock fan, he was just looking like the way you told. The guru is saying that no, that's not possible. So he tells, no, Guru, come, let's go. So they both come to Vrindavan. And the Guru says that, okay, where did you see in this place? He comes empty forest. Here only I called. So the Guru starts calling Krishna, Krishna. Krishna doesn't come. And the Guru looks at this thief, and the thief says, wait, I'll call. And he calls Krishna, and the Krishna appears. And the Guru says, how is this possible? I have been reading, preaching, teaching. I completely love you for the last 30 years. And this person who's heard about you just for once or twice, and he's calling, you're coming, I've been calling, you're not coming. And what does Lord Krishna reply? Saying that this person had full faith I exist. He had full faith in your words. So it's easy for me because he didn't have a tinge of doubt that I don't exist. You had a doubt that I am in this yuga. Will I come? Will I be visible? Will I look like this? You have your doubts. When you remove those doubts, your eyes are filled with love only for me. And when you have that love, the Krishna automatically appears in front of you. So this is the learning that we have. That's what it says here as well. This personality of Godhead is actually visible, but is perceived only when you have you're full in devotional service, you're zero in material level. You should not have even a tinge of material, hankering, desires, lamentations, whatever it is, right? So if you have, then it's very difficult to get that Lord Shri Krishna. We'll continue. It was ordained that Ravana, chief of the Rakshasas, could not be killed by anyone but a man. And for this reason, Lord Ramachandra, the personality of God, had appeared in the form of a human being. Lord Ramachandra's mission, however, was not only to kill Ravana, but also to teach mortal beings that material happiness centered around sex life or centered around one's wife is the cause of many miseries. He is the self-sufficient Supreme Personality of Godhead and nothing is lamentable for him. Therefore, why else could he be subjected to tribulations by the kidnapping of Mother Sita? Right. So, firstly, we establish why he comes as human beings, and this continues to stay as human beings. It doesn't change his position as being a human being. Right. So, we are clear on that part, right? So, he comes here because Ravana has this boon that he cannot be killed by anyone other than a human being because he thought human beings are tucha. What will they come and kill me? Right. So, how can a human being defeat? But he's taken boon from Brahmaji that the demigods cannot kill me, these people cannot kill me, those people cannot, these animals cannot kill, and all that, right? So he's covered himself. That's why Lord Ramchandra comes as human being. Continues to stay as human beings, does not complicate. But we need to understand that the Supreme Lord, even though he behaves like a human being, never comes down from his position of being the Supreme Lord. But he appeared and he continued to behave like a human being. there are a couple of instances wherein this is being discussed. I think one I'll cover later as well. But there was once, Lord Ramchandra is actually doing, if I'm right, the pastor is, he is actually doing the Antim Samskar of Jatayu. And he is, Jatayu's, after Jatayu has given the information on Mother Sita being kidnapped, he actually treats Jatayu like a son, and then he puts the, fire around and puts Jatayu there, and he says, okay, now you go back to the spiritual world. And Lakshmana is, Bhai, kya kar raha hai? You are just sending this person back to spiritual world. You are supposed to behave like a human being. He smiles and he says that, okay, Jatayu deserve to go back. I couldn't do the Antim Samskar of my father, but Jatayu deserve to go back. So some places he actually, for a moment, he behaved like a Supreme Lord, but otherwise he always stayed as the Supreme Lord. Okay, and this you can see in the coming wise place as well. But here there's another point which is also important that talks about he teaches us how this material happiness, if it's centered around sex life and centered around husband and wife, all that, then it will cause a lot of misery, right? So all these tribulations that Lord Ramchandra's life, the 14 years of Vanvas and whatever different things happened before that and in that Vanvas or and post that as well, right? So we all know the story. So all this happened because he was into this family affairs. So he teaches that if you want, so-called family life, why do people get married centered around the sex life? If you are interested in these, then it is, it's a buy one, get one. You get whatever material happiness you get. Along with that, you get many miseries. It's a given. So does it mean that one should not get married? Well, that is left to one's position. Ideally, Grihastha Ashrama in this Kali Yuga is safest to go back as well if you are able to follow the Varnashrama Dharma. We will talk about that. Remember this word, Varnashrama Dharma. We'll try to cover that in the next set of prayers as well. But we are clear on this. I mean, so this Bhagavatam shloka, I'll not go into deeper. Yet Maituradi, Grahamedi Sukhamitucham is this Grihastha in Maituna, for that little bit of Maituna Ruchi, this Sukham is pretty tucham. Tucham is, useless or very limited, right? So that's all we get. Lord Ramchandra, although Supreme Personality of Godhead, underwent a series of tribulations because he accepted a wife, Mother Sita. Lord Ramchandra underwent austerities of course, to instruct us. Actually, he never has any reasons to lament for anything. So this kidnapping of Mother Sita, and Lord Ramchandra is crying when Mother Sita is kidnapped. And Lakshmana comes and tells, Bhai, you are the Supreme Lord. And Ramchandra for a moment understands, where did I suddenly behave like a typical human being, right? So he just for a moment goes through it. And actually he's the Supreme Lord. He doesn't have any reasons to lament. He doesn't go through the emotions of having to lament. But he displays these for us, saying, instructing us. He also instructs us the importance of husband taking care of a wife and a brother and so on, right? So he actually does that. I think it will be covered in the later part. A Vaishnava is always firmly situated in transcendental bliss because of engagement in devotional service. Although he may appear to suffer material pains, his position is called transcendental bliss in separation or viraha. So we talk about Vipralabha Bhava or Viraha Bhava, wherein he is separated from the Lord. This suffering of separation is also pleasure. So topmost of pleasure is this Vipralabha Bhava, when we are the relation is happening in the mode of separation. That's what Mahaprabhu teaches us. The Lord Ramchandra and Mother Sita separation here is not that they are suffering. We all know that. It's for us and how we are tested as well. Since Lord Ramchandra is the Supreme Personality of God and Vasudeva, he is not attached to anything in the material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls. And he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences. Therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshmana, his brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible, right? So this just again from his Supreme Lord's position, he doesn't go through any of these sufferings. But because he's taken up a role as part of his Leela, he exhibits these kind of things. But he's always full in his opulences. Although he's a super soul in all living entities, he specifically manifests to those who are self-realized and especially dear to the heart of his transcendental devotees. So when one is self-realized, he can understand this better. And when these prayers come in, right? So from the personalities who are in Kimpurusha Loka, it's usually acceptable as they are correct. Now, what does it mean? That he doesn't go through any material sufferings, but he has his friends, he takes care of them. We'll see that one cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. We know this. Janma Ishwari Srutashri is not a qualification to understand or establish a friendship with the Lord. None of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although the uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble birth, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends. This is spoken by Sugriva. Like I said, some acharyas commented that way, saying that we look like this, like so-called monkeys, and Lord Ramchandra has accepted us because even though we don't have any of the top qualities, not in a big rich family, not very rich, not very beautiful, not very highly educated. All these are not a qualification, not materially highly educated. These are not the qualifications for accepting the friendship with the Lord. And in the first canto, Srimati Kunti Devi actually mentions about this word called Akinchana Gochara. Akinchana means I don't have anything pending from this material world to achieve. When a person is Akinchana Gochara, he becomes closer to the Lord. When you're completely finished of your material desires, that's when your opening happens fully to the Lord. Otherwise, the opening is very small. Even though the Lord is wanting us, he tries to pull us up. We are not letting go of the material world. Okay, and we need to be very, very, very clear on this. Hankering for anything, I will become rich, I will become popular, I will get this position, I will have this education. Okay, I will be so beautiful. None of these qualifications will take us closer to the Lord. This Janmaishwari Srutasri is unfortunately not a qualification for developing Krishna consciousness. So how do we develop? Bhakti Amam Abhijanati. Only by pure devotional service. You want to serve the Lord. As you sincerely continue your service, you become closer and closer to the Lord. So your qualification is service. The goal is also service. You need to understand that. It's a very simple process. And how do we know that my service is accepted by the Lord? You will continue to get more and more services. How should be my attitude? Rupa Goswami mentions you should have the laulyam or the eagerness or the greediness that I want to do more and more services to the Lord. You should be very greedy, not to get into someone else's service, but wanting to do more and more services. And see wonderful examples of devotees doing book distribution and so on, right? So that becomes our qualification. And in conclusion, what we learn? Now, to achieve the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should be Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Anya Abhilasha, any other desire, should be Shunya, zero. Jnana karma dhyana no jnana, no karma, none of these words. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam, Bhaktir Uttama. Uttama Bhakti or pure devotional services. Anukulyena Krishna. Everything that we do should be favorable to Krishna consciousness, favorable to the service of the Lord. So we'll wrap up with this. Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as beasts or birds, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerity or penance to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotees. Thus he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful. Indeed, Lord Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead in Vaikuntha. So we know this pastime. He doesn't matter if it's a squirrel or a spider, it doesn't matter if it's the biggest of demons or the smallest. He treats them all wonderfully and he takes care of them. He recognizes each and every service. And at the end of Lord Ramchandra's pastime, he said, I'm going to enter the Sarayu river, and anyone who wants to come with me can come. And he said that almost all of Ayodhya went right behind Lord Ramchandra. Okay, and similarly, at least Lord Ramchandra came here, killed a couple of demons. Mahaprabhu is here, is killing the demoniac mentality inside us, and is asking us to come back. Now it is up to us if you want to go or not go. So I knew that Lord Ramchandra's pastime will take some time. So we have finished one part of the Kim Purusha Varsha's prayers by the Kim Purushas, their personality being Lord Ramchandra. Now we'll move on very quickly to the Bharata Varsha, which is the place that we are in. Here the personality is Narayan Rishi, and the prayers are coming from Narad Muni and other such wonderful devotees. Okay, we'll take another 10-12 minutes to finish this, and if there are any questions, we can take it after that. So Sukadeva Goswami continued, the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are inconceivable. He has appeared in the form of Naranarayana in the night of Bharatavarsha at the place known as Badrikashrama to favor his devotees by teaching them religion, knowledge, renunciation, spiritual power, sense control, and freedom from false ego. He is advanced in the opulence of spiritual assets, and he engages in executing austerity until the end of this millennium. This is the process of self-realization. So you know that Nara and Rishi are in this place called Badrikashrama. It is said that many personalities went and actually met them at Badrikashrama. Like you have Madhvacharya who actually went and saw him and so on. Right. So these personalities are actually present there. One who is very serious about self-realization in this age and practices austerity. Okay, one must be very serious. So in this age, there are various other things that will not work for us. Renunciation, spiritual power, everything comes through chanting, which is the Yuga Dharma for us in this age. But in this tract of land, all these things work, right? So in the Bharatavarsha, all these are present. Unfortunately, in the age of Kali, people don't know the meaning of austerity. So that's why the Lord appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and bestowed this wonderful process of chanting, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that cleanses the mirror of our heart to reflect the original us, which is the soul, right? So this can be achieved by Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Hare Krishna Mantra. No amount of scientific knowledge, advancement in different kinds of isms that Srila Prabhupada mentioned, they are all based on valuable human form of life. Okay, so Prabhupada keeps emphasizing this, that it's extremely important that we fully use this human form of life to get out of this material miseries. That should be our goal. Otherwise, we'll be cheated here. In his own book known as Narada Pancharatra, Bhagavan Narada has very vividly described how to work to achieve the ultimate goal of life, which is devotion. Through knowledge and through execution of the mystic yoga system. He also describes the glories of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great Saint Narada instructed the tenets of this transcendental literature to Sarvani Manu, okay? Savarni Manu, I'm very sorry. I'm trying to recollect. Why did I miss that name? Okay, Savarni Manu, in order to teach those inhabitants of Bharatavarsha who strictly follow the principles of Varnashrama Dharma, how to achieve the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, Narad Muni, along with other inhabitants of Bharatavarsha, always engages in service of Narayana, and he chants as follows. Okay, so Narada Pancharatra, we have heard how to worship the deity form of the Lord. That is described very clearly in this Narada Pancharatra. For devotees who don't know, it's a very nice piece of instruction. Basically, deity worship comes from there. This one is an instruction given by Lord Narayana to his close associates for 5 nights in a row. He teaches them how deity worship should happen. Narad Muni makes a recording of this and tells us what is followable. And this recording, because it's done, teaching happens through 5 nights, it's called Pancharatra, written by Narad Muni. Okay, so he's teaching the different Manus like what we know, right? So he meets various different personalities. It could be Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruv Maharaj or the different Manus that we have seen so far, from Swayambhu Manu, Vyasadeva. Narad Muni's work is that he keeps traveling around. Like this, he met Savarni Manu and he teaches him. And the most important of the concept is this Varnashrama Dharma. So while we were discussing Lord Ramchandra's position, we said that, okay, our Varna Ashrama Dharma, there should be one ultimate goal, and that ultimate goal is devotional service to the Lord. Okay, so this piece of land, again, Bharatavarsha, in that Bharatavarsha, we are the Bharat Bhumi, and Mahaprabhu has very clearly said, Bharata Bhumi Haila Manusha Janma Yar, Janma Sarthak Kari Karu Paropakar. Okay, we should make this life successful. How? By first following it ourselves, and more importantly, if we are at Mahaprabhu's moment, we preach this to others. Paropakar, need to help others, bring others to this Krishna consciousness. If we do not take to the principles of Varnashrama by accepting the 4 orders of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the spiritual orders of Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, there can be no question of success. Srila Prabhupada mentioned this. Many of his disciples talk about the importance of Varnashrama. It's a very important aspect, right? So Varnashrama, we may not emphasize so much, though we say that yes, we are in Grahastha Ashrama, we are in Brahmachari Ashrama, or whatever. So ideally, plan your life. Just one point I wanted to cover here is that plan your life so that at 50, you're able to become a Vanaprastha. Okay, that means I will stop becoming the owner or leader in my house. I stop dictating the position of power at my house. So by then, your children should ideally be around 25 and they should take the decisions at the house. You should not feel that, oh, why did they order this? Why did they stop this? Why did they buy this? That is called renunciation. That's called coming out of it. You can stay in the same house, but Vanaprastha mode is I have more time for the Lord, less time for all these material gossips. And His Grace Hari Leela Prabhu, he was doing a class around this topic in our Bhakti Vaibhav classes, and he would tell that, see, Vanaprastha is a mentality change. It's not just a physical change. It's not that I go and stay in a dham, I become a Vanaprastha. There also, I'm going and staying, I'm trying to earn money, I'm trying to earn commission, I'm trying to do business. Then you're still not a Vanaprastha because you still have material hankering. So you should understand that to plan that, you need to plan your life properly. It could be your health, it could be your wealth, it could be your attachments, your association. How do you get disconnected from all that? That's a very important goal that we learn from here. And practically, our acharyas have taught us how to behave that way. Okay, this Bharata Bhumi, Bharata Varsha we have seen. This Pancharatrika Vidhi also we have seen. Let's move on. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the best of all saintly persons, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the most self-controlled and self-realized. He is free from false prestige, and he is the asset of persons who have no material possession. He is the spiritual master of all Paramahamsas, who are the most exalted human beings, and he is the master of the self-realized. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet. So the prayers continue by Narad Muni and others to the personality of Narayana Rishis. Okay, so Gayati Chedam, basically they are going to now sing. So they have been chanting, now they are singing. Narada, the most powerful saintly sage, also worships Narayana by chanting the following mantra. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this visible cosmic manifestation. Yet he is completely free from false prestige. Although to the foolish he appears to have accepted a material body like us, he is unaffected by bodily tribulations like hunger, thirst, and fatigue. Okay. Although he is the witness who sees everything, his senses are unpolluted by the objects he sees. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the unattached, pure witness of the world, the super soul, supreme soul, the personality of Godhead. So we talk about Satchitananda Vigraha. This one talks about each aspect of the Lord very, very clearly, right? So it's given, like Prabhupada mentioned, it fully describes the Creator. So this entire creation that we are talking, we are still in the concept of creation, though we have got details into particular forms of the Lord. This whole cosmic manifestation or the creation is by Him, right? So very clearly, but He doesn't own it. He's fully renounced from it, right? So He doesn't care for it. Yeah, but it's very difficult. Prabhupada gives this example of you build a skyscraper or you build a house. it's very difficult for you to get detached from it. The Lord doesn't bother. He builds us, he annihilates. He just doesn't have this feeling for these material things. Okay. And also he doesn't want everyone to recognize him as the Supreme Lord. That's why he has got the different Vaikuntha Lokas, wherein the treatment is very, very different. The treatment to Lord Ramchandra is different from the way Lord Krishna is treated in Goloka versus the way Lord Narayana is treated in Vaikuntha versus Lord Narsimadev is treated in Vaikuntha Loka versus Jagannath is treated in Jagannath Puri and so on. Right. So each of these treatments are different and loves this kind of affection from others. Okay, and he may appear in this material form, but he is not connected. Avajanati Mamuda, if you remember that. They think he is in Avajanati Mamuda, Manusham Tanvasha. They think that I've taken these mudas, or these foolish people think that I'm a human being, but I don't have any of these human connects. Okay, moving on. O my Lord, Master of all mystic yoga, this is the explanation of the yogic process spoken by Lord Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, who is self-realized. At the time of death, all yogis give up the material body with full detachment, simply by placing their minds at the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the perfection of yoga. So we also, Ante Narayana Smriti, we keep saying that Yamam Bapismaran Bhava. Whatever we remember at the time of death, we should be connected at the lotus feet of the Lord. Make sure that you're fully detached from everything material. Remember the Lord at the end of life. Well, the best way to do it is be Krishna consciousness throughout the life. At the end of the life, leave it to the Lord. He will remember you. That's what the Lord promises, right? So throughout the life you have served me, at the end of life, I will remember you. Don't worry. Okay, you're guaranteed because of the way you have behaved throughout your life, not just at the end of life. You cannot artificially do it at the end of life. Remember that. And this is a very important shloka. That's why I've highlighted here, though the context is a little different. Apichet Suduracharo, it says, even if one commits abominable action, if he's engaged in devotional service, he's considered to be saintly and is properly situated. Many times you might come across devotees, we might find faults with them, or they might be doing actions which are not incorrect according to us. Please understand, if they are engaged in devotional service, they are to be considered saintly according to the words of Lord Shri Krishna. Don't find faults, because that is, self-degradation rather than about them. Spreading rumors, finding faults without understanding their position. If they are able to serve the Lord properly, it is between them and the Lord and their Guru. Right? So you don't need to go around trying to fix, unless you are the affected party and you have a role to play in it, right? So this doesn't mean that, okay, I have a person in my Bhakti Viksha who's doing something wrong, I will not talk to him. No, you play the mentor's role. You play your role. If there is a senior person, you have very little role to play there. Materialists are generally very attached to their present bodily comforts and to the bodily comforts they expect in future. Therefore, they are always absorbing the thoughts of their wife, children, wealth, and are afraid of giving up their bodies, which are full of stool and urine. If a person engaged in Krishna consciousness, however, is also afraid of giving up his body, what is the use of having labored to study the Shastras? It's simply waste of time. Right? So talking about remembering the Lord at the end of life also is very importantly telling this part that if you're afraid to give up this body, sorry, you have not progressed enough. Many times, we might have heard from our grandparents. Someday we will also become grandparents, but I'm just waiting for the Lord to call me. My grandmom usually says this, like, so, எப்பதான் முருகன் வந்து என்ன கூப்பிடுவாரோ தெரியல. That's the way she puts it. And she will watch all the TVs and eat all the pizzas, and all that is still going on. When the Lord calls, they will call, and the Lord is waiting for you to come back, right? So you should understand that we should not be in that position. We should be ready to give up. I had some katha for this, but not for today. We'll do it some other time. A Krishna conscious person must fully discharge his devotional service without material attachment. This is liberation. Then his liberation is guaranteed. So it's about how you behave. Last shloka for today. Therefore, O Lord, O Transcendence, kindly help us by giving us the power to execute Bhakti Yoga, so that we can control our restless mind and fix them upon you. We are so infected by your illusory energy, therefore we are very attached to the body, which is full of stool and urine. and to anything related with the body except for devotional service, there is no way to give up this attachment. Therefore, kindly bestow upon us this benediction. So the Lord says that Man Mana Bhamat Bhakto Madhyaji Nam Namaskaru. So He's given you a list of things to do. What do we do? Go pray to the Lord, saying that, please, more or other, engage me in devotional service. Yes, I'm attached to this material enjoyment, but some more or other, I want to get out of this. Please guide me, help me, and take me with you. So, as a summary, we saw the prayers by the Kimpur Varsha people to Lord Ramachandra and Narad Muni and other elevated souls to Narayana Rishi in the Bharata Varsha. And the Bharata Varsha's concept of Varnashrama and prayers of detachment, this is something that we have been continuously seeing, right? So, we are not new to this. So that's what we understand from today's session. So if there are any questions or comments on what we discussed, please let me know. Otherwise, the Bharata Varsha's continuation will happen in the next class. Are there any questions or comments from anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Komala Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, one small doubt. Like when in this cycle of yogas, whenever the Lord has descended, would the same set of pastimes be repeated, or will there be different pastimes in different universes?
There are two-piece answer to it, Mataji. First one, the recordings happen of these pastimes, and those recordings are what we are learning or reading. There are many pastimes that are not recorded. Okay, they will also happen. And don't aspire to see all those pastimes. The eternal pastimes are happening in Goloka. Always desire go back there. The second part is if you read the Shastras, like we saw right in the beginning, where our acharyas have clarified, right? So one time Lord Ramchandra comes from the Chaturvyuha expansions, Shankarshana Pradyumna. The other time he comes from Narayana and his paraphernalia. Like that, each time it is different. There are places where the fight between Hiranyaksha and Varahadev is mentioned. They're fighting deep underwater. They're fighting in the sky. Okay. The Hiranyakashipu Narasimhadev, once it is mentioned that they are fighting in the Yama's, Indra's planet. The other time it is mentioned that they are fighting in the earthly planet. That different pastimes happen, different places these pastimes happens, different forms of the Lord, colors of the Lord come in, different weapons are used. The recordings is what, like we said, no, we have got limited bandwidth to understand, but it's not the same pastime. The Lord doesn't get bored doing the same activity.
Right.
So the varieties, and in fact, it is also mentioned that sometimes the Lord Himself is surprised that, oh, this pastime happened. Oh, this particular weapon I've never seen. Right. So that's the work of Lord's internal energy, wherein He's always put into newer and newer taste, and He relishes those tastes. So the pastimes are not the same. It's not the same drama troupe, and same drama is happening every time. There's always varieties.
Okay, so innumerable universes, so innumerable pastimes.
Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
In fact, you know
Oh,
this, right? So Anantajesh says he's got millions of mouths, and each mouth is talking about a different quality and leela of the Lord, and he's never going to finish. He's got so many leelas going on.
right. This reminds me of this. Once I visited the Sammel Kote temple. I think the Prabhuji who accompanied as a guide mentioned that was once Govardhana Hill in one of the yugas. So the present Govardhana is in UP,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So in Melkote, in one of the yugas, that was the Govardhana Hill. Right, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I have not read that past time, but if it's
And
shastrically there,
it is from ISKCON Prabhuji only, who's like
yeah,
who
that's
came
fine. Yes,
in
it's
as a
possible. That's
guide.
what I'm saying. That I'm not aware, so I will not comment. But again,
Okay.
there are shastric references to these, right? So please understand, we should not quote anything from outside of shastras. There can always be a local, like they say, no folklore that is going on, right? So local versions of different pastimes. So that's their mood for the Lord, and that's possible. I'm not saying no, but I have not heard that Melkote was Govardhan Parvata. It's possible. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Anyone else who has any other questions, comment? I know we spilled over a little. But any other questions, comments from anyone?
Prabhuji, you've covered this topic very, very beautifully, Prabhuji. You were just engrossed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kalyani Mataji. Thank you so much. And I'll pass it back to all the different acharyas. Wonderful. So this topic specifically, I think I need to thank His Grace Pavaneshwar Prabhu, because he did it for us in our classes. We had an elaborate class on this fifth canto. And I mean, I think in the class time also I referred devotees who wants to
Yes,
probably take
Prabhuji.
his book, Bhagavad Cosmology. So it's coming from there. You can read through this. Okay, we are on time. I know devotees have other sevas, but thank you so much for joining in today. We'll continue to read Bhagavatam. It's wonderful service that devotees are doing to get the Bhagavatam every Saturday and every day. And so all glories to the Gita Gyan team. Thank you, everyone. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Sanatana
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna to all devotees assembled here. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Shri Prabhu, you are in Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhu, you are on line. Anand Rupa Prabhu.
Shri Prabhu
Hare Krishna.
has not joined today. Has not joined
Okay.
today.
And
Hare
Anand
Krishna,
Rupa
Anukul
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yeah. Prabhu, you can
Dandavat
today,
Pranam Prabhu.
tomorrow you can announce. We have launched this Adar Purnima Bhagavatam distribution. So devotee can involve. So in all India, all world, Bhagavatam ISKCON has taken pledge that we will distribute, try to 10 lakh Bhagavatam all over world. So we have taken about 1,500 our temple commitment. So everybody should help and distribute to the, who have no Bhagavatam, who wants to read in our language is there. So you tomorrow you can take up this Anandrupa group.
Sure, Prabhu. We'll do the
Thank you.
announcement.
Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Announce the Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam to everybody. Dandavat Pranam to all.
Thank you, devotees. Thank you for joining. We'll join tomorrow again. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.